With the rise of new pop stars who have used branding to help step into mainstream pop culture and online creators trying to market themselves to audiences, the topic of branding has become increasingly popular online. While this is a strategic play to attract a fan base, the results of this success has trickled down to the average consumer, causing us to feel like we need to brand ourselves and have a defined aesthetic of our own in order to achieve success. On the surface, there's seemingly nothing wrong with this, but I believe that not only can this negatively impact us on a personal level, but on a community one too. So let's discuss the problem with branding and aesthetics, why Gen Z wants to be put into a box. Most people understand that the purpose of branding or marketing yourself is to appeal to a certain demographic, ultimately so that you can sell a product. So because of this, they use certain colors, visuals, and concepts to attract that group. This can vary from portraying yourself as a relatable brand to an aspirational one and everything in between. And this isn't always a bad thing. When brands do this right, a person can find something, whether that be a form of entertainment, a product, or a community, that resonates so deeply, they feel like they found an extension of themselves. And also, there's nothing new under the sun. Categorizing yourself has always been prevalent in the real world. Before these terms like branding and aesthetics were popular, in the real world, words used to categorize a group of people who shared a collective identity included things like cliques and even subcultures. I think the difference, though, between branding and aesthetics versus cliques and subcultures is that the latter is more grounded in reality. For example, back then, if someone was dressed gothic, they probably were a part of that subculture. Not to say that cliques or subcultures were perfect and that there weren't any posers among those groups, but at least the people in said group were there because it was authentic to them. Another difference is that grouping yourself back then didn't have a form of monetization like we see now. For example, if you know it'll get you more attention and views to portray a certain aesthetic, you might be tempted to do that even though it's not true to yourself. Which takes me to my point of why this is harmful to us on a personal level. Right now, members of Gen Z are between 13 and 28 years old. Even though the general life experience of the younger Gen Z compared to an older one is so different thanks to the development of social media, one of the things that everyone in this generation does have in common is that we are all currently in this discovery stage of life. And when you're still unsure of who you are, it's easy to latch onto whatever the current trend is of the week, but then let it go just as quickly as it came. Sure, some people could say that trying all of these trends is a way of self-exploration, but if you're not questioning if these things actually appeal to you, you're mindlessly consuming and falling prey to the real brands who are trying to get your money. Ultimately, you're willingly putting yourself in a box in hopes that you see yourself in a certain light and that others perceive you in the same way. And the reality is, most people are not just the one or two aesthetics they're portraying themselves to be, which leads me to my next point, which is why this is harmful to us on a community level. If you're chronically online, you've heard about the loneliness epidemic, and even though it can sound overdone, it's very real and something that unfortunately isn't going away anytime soon. While there's a surplus of reasons for this change, I think something that impacts our connection to others is how we have been coming across online. Going back to the point of a brand, which is to categorize itself to appeal to a certain group of people in order to sell something, when we take this brand model to curate our style and other areas of our life based off of trends, we end up amplifying certain parts of ourselves and hiding others, which ultimately rejects certain people from taking interest in us. And this is a problem because the people who we are rejecting could in fact like real parts about us that we're not showing. Relating this to loneliness, it's a cycle of seeing people in categories that they think they should be in because of society or social media, when in reality, we are multifaceted people. And if we express those different sides of ourselves, probability speaking, there would be more opportunities for connection.